Okay, well, we'll move on to communication. And somebody gave me a gift by giving me a blank sheet, so no one signed up for communication tonight, so thank you very much. We'll move on to superintendent's recommendations and reports. Mr. Smith?
Thank you, Mr. Birding. Members of the board, I do have several items for your consideration under personnel professional. Number one, resignations, letters A and B. I would like to draw your attention to 1B. And you guys totally stole my thunder earlier this evening with your banter, but during Mr. Martin's tenure, he has served as a teacher, assistant principal, director of curriculum and instruction. He's taught Mandy everything she knows, right? And in his current position of assistant superintendent. So just like Mr. Birding, only he's had more years here in the district, he has had a positive impact on thousands of students and staff members. I love, watching him in the homecoming parade. It was his moment to shine as our grand marshal. And what was wonderful about it was through the, by West Elementary where he served for so many years, and so many people were there and they knew him. It was like walking behind the mayor. And so it was absolutely wonderful. He is an absolute wealth of knowledge. I've learned a lot from him over the years, and I know everyone else has as well. We will miss him. We will miss his attention to detail and his love for the Fairfield City School District. And this is where you guys stole my banter. Unlike Mr. Birding, this is not his last meeting. He will be coming back time and time and time again. We have him for about 6 more months, and we will certainly be thankful for every single day that we have him. And I want to encourage everyone to stay tuned, as we will certainly be giving Roger an appropriate send-off in the near future. So thank you so much, Mr. Martin. Carrying on with those items, number 2, extracurricular corrections, 2021-22, letter A. Number 3, unpaid leave of absence, letter A. 4, employment, letter A, extracurriculars, 2021-2022. Letter B, EL tutor, 2021-2022. Letter C, volunteers, 2021-22. And that concludes the items that I have for your consideration under personnel professional.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to accept those recommendations.
So moved.
Second.
I heard Mr. Begley and Mrs. Shorter. Any questions or comments from the board?
Just like to edit out that B.
Edit out. Okay. Mrs. Lamy, you call the roll, please.
Mr. Begley?
Yes.
Mrs. Shorter?
Yes.
Mrs. Gundrum?
Yes.
Mr. Clark?
Yes.
Mr. Birding?
Yes, motion passes.
This time, I would like to ask Mr. Perry to cover the items listed under personnel support.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Mr. Birding, members of the board, I have the following items for your consideration under personnel support. Number 1, resignations, A through D. Number 2, unpaid leaves of absence, A through D. Number 3, employment, A through E. That concludes the items for your consideration under personnel support.
Thank you, Mr. Perry. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to accept those recommendations.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, I heard Mr. Clark and I heard Mrs. Gundrum. Any questions or comments? Mrs. Lane, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Clark?
Yes.
Mrs. Gundrum?
Yes.
Mrs. Shorter?
Yes.
Mr. Begley?
Yes.
Mr. Birding?
Yes, motion passes.